What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavink here, and we are celebrating Mock Draft Monday with another Packers mock draft, this time extending it out to 5 rounds, so you get 7 picks here for the Packers. Some selections you're probably familiar with in terms of prospects, and maybe others you haven't quite considered. I think it's a fun mix of players in this one, so we'll start at pick 25 with Illinois defensive lineman Jerzon Newton. I know this might be a little bit shocking just because we've seen Newton very high in mock drafts all the way going back to the summer. But now I think when you see where the NFL is on him, I think you see this defensive tackle class as one where guys could slip a little bit later in the draft. So Newton, 6'1 and 3/8, 300 pounds. We'll see if that's verified when the combine rolls around. 59 pressures, 4 sacks in 2022, 43 pressures and 8 sacks in 2023. When you see Newton play, you see a pass rusher. You see the wicked first step explosiveness. You see the hand usage combo, the cross chop, the ability to rip, get underneath, be able to turn the corner as a 3 technique rusher. That's very, very impressive. And I think he's improving his run defense, and he can definitely be a guy who can sit and leverage a gap with enough anchoring power to hold the line of scrimmage. Is this best player available? Would the Packers, consider defensive tackle? That's really an interesting question to explore. But with a guy like Newton potentially being a best player available in a situation that I had making this mock where the top 5 corners are off the board, this is something Green Bay could definitely pivot to. Colby Wooden, maybe he kicks out to play some defensive end in the new scheme, and then you have Newton joining a really good stable of pass rushers on the inside. Now, pick 41 is Kamari Lassiter, the cornerback from Georgia. A little light. He's 6', 180. We'll see if that number holds at the combine. If it does, I think then you have a conversation of whether or not Lassiter's on Green Bay's board. We'll hold off until then. What you have from Lassiter, 5 pass breakups and a 48.7 passer rating allowed in coverage in 2023. I think when you look at Lassiter, you see plenty of speed to carry vertically. He's really, really good closing downhill. You see the tackling ability. You see him play with competitive toughness. That is really, really there. He plays kind of with his heart on his sleeve plenty of times when you're watching film. I think he's an easier mover in space too. He can flip the hips, get in transition where, he can kind of stick to receivers, stay in the hip pocket. I think he's really, really good in off man. You see some fits for schemes that could be more cover 3 heavy. So there's work to do, at least for me, that I've seen in press coverage. Now, I think that's something he can definitely work on. He plays tough. He plays physical. You just got to hone that technique in press coverage, and I think he might be a really sound fit for Green Bay with the new scheme. Pick 58, we got Kalen Bulock, the safety from USC, listed at 6'3", 190. We'll see if that holds as well at the combine. A playmaking safety, 7 pass breakups and 2 picks in 2023. This is another safety with single high range and playmaking ability. He's a ball hawk in coverage. He can close a lot of space in very minimal amount of time, make plays in the air. And I think you see him as a young ascending player in this draft right now. He is not 21 yet. He'll be 21 just after the draft. Green Bay often looks at younger players because you see, a path in development with a lot of upside, and you also see a player who, could hit that 3rd contract before they're 30 years old. That's something to monitor as well. But I think Kalen Bulock, the one thing is please tackle. Please, work on the tackle ability in space, right? Work on your angles. If he can get that honed in, this is really potentially the complete playmaker on the back end that Green Bay will look for, especially with Hafley's scheme. So now pick 88, we're going to go Cedric Gray, the linebacker from North Carolina. Verified measurements of 6'1 3/4, 232 pounds, 80 tackles, 21 pressures, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 pass breakups, and an interception in 2023. Kind of doing it all at linebacker for North Carolina. I think you see the functional athleticism and instincts. That helps him a lot, especially in coverage when he's in spot drop coverage and zone, right? And also when he's working against a run, reading out screens, having to carry, the running back wherever they go, right? There's so much where, he has that closing speed. He can tackle in space, and he's got decently long arms to be able to kind of increase that tackle radius a little bit as well. I think his field and processing and zone coverage is really, really good. This is potentially the player that you play at the, will linebacker spot. Maybe he's out there, when you're in nickel and you got 2 backers out there because of the coverage skill set. And I think he could really be a factor in the linebacker room for Green Bay in year 1. Pick 91, someone you might not be familiar with as much. It's Mason McCormick, the guard from South Dakota State. 6'4", 310 pounds, has 3,375 snaps at left guard in his career. I believe 6 years with the Jackrabbits. Just allowed 27 pressures and 3 sacks in 1,541 opportunities. This is the pass blocker at guard that probably Green Bay would really, really look for. He's a really powerful player, nasty player at the point of attack, can finish in the run game, but does a really nice job in pass pro where he's a really good job anchoring. He's got great balance. He can reset the hands. He gets good leverage when he strikes and when he can maintain those blocks in pass pro. And I think, he can hit pretty good landmarks in the run game. When he's pulling, it's a little more inconsistent, but you see that ability there flash. I think you can, in the run game, when you see those misses a lot of times, maybe you're questioning how good of an athlete he is relative to his peers. Something to monitor at the combine especially. Because Green Bay, we know, they like those athletes at every position. Pick 127, we got Roger Rosengart, the tackle from Washington, listed at 6'5.5", 311. Those are verified from the Senior Bowl. 1,937 snaps at right tackle in his career. Plenty of experience there. So now, McCormick and you got Rosengart, a guard and a tackle, joining that offensive line room. 15 pressures and 0 sacks allowed in 2023. I know many people, maybe the sour taste in your mouth from how he performed against Michigan. But other than that, you saw a really, really good player in pass protection, right? Initial quicks, he's got good sets. He can set really wide to make sure he's cutting off wide nines, that are rushing the quarterback. He's got good agility. He can mirror and pass pro extremely well, and he's a good hand fighter, right? I think he can reestablish leverage really well. It's just a question, I think, at the Senior Bowl, when you looked at him, you went, okay, does he have the ability to play a little bit lower? Can he lower himself a little bit? Because he's a taller guy, you got guys who are going to be able to dip and bend underneath and create some pressure. So I think that's a question mark. Obviously, the run game is a little bit as well, but you know what Green Bay favors? We know they like pass protectors over run blockers. To finish up the mock at pick 168, we're going to go Isaac Gendo, the running back from Louisville. Packers fans, some of them might be familiar with Gendo. He's a Wisconsin transfer to Louisville, 5'11 and 3/4, 220 pounds. Had 132 carries for 810 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2023. I think he's a really patient runner. Some people would call him indecisive at times. I think he just does a good job letting his blocks set up and develop, understanding, where the creases are going to present themselves and attacking downhill when they do. I think really patient runner, like I said. I think he's got, really explosive cuts. You see him in the short area, be able to really, plant and explode for the first couple steps out of that cut, which I think is really good. He's flexible. He can kind of drop his weight, to change direction. And I think he's got impressive burst and finishing speed. We might be talking about a 4.4 running back when all is said and done as well. So there you have it for 7 picks and a 5-round mock draft for the Packers. A good mix. You get guys in the secondary, you get some running back help, and the trenches get a big time look, and you get a guy joining the linebacker room. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave a like down there, subscribe if you're new. Plenty more draft and Packers content coming soon on the channel. I will catch you guys in the next video. Farewell.